Hello again. This is another guide to help learn how to speedrun Secrets of Grindea. This time I'm going to be going over the any percent route and talking about various tricks and choices for routing in that run. I'm going to be skipping around the footage from one of my any percent runs to roughly cover the route in order. If you want to see a full run, I suggest watching the recording without any commentary. You can split the run into two sections, pre-Soul Gem and post-Soul Gem. Before you beat Soul Gem, you're working on getting all the abilities and gear that you need to beat the game. And after Soul Gem, you're just going to beat the game. The start of the run consists of grinding out 2 levels so that you can get Provoke and Blink. These abilities allow you to clip out of bounds, which is essential for the run. If you kill every enemy on the way to the cave that has the mystery cube in it, then you should get exactly 2 levels. Be careful to look for rabbits hiding behind trees or rocks, because sometimes they spawn there. Once you've gotten the mystery cube, you'll want to continue down the mountain and fight the black ferrets. After you've beaten them, you'll want to stop in Evergrande Fields East. This is where you'll be performing the first sequence break of the game. You'll want to use the wooden pier to clip out of bounds and then go up and around to the house that you normally can't access. Go inside and grab the accessory, the AAA, and then go down to Pumpkin Woods. Here you'll want to grab 2 things. One is the Bloodthirst boots on the left. You'll have to sit and wait for your health to drain. And then on the right there is a quest for Leafsifer that you'll turn in later in the desert. Once you have this quest, continue down into Pumpkin Woods to go grab the Warp Plate, and then to the right to grab the Blindfold. From here, you'll make your way to the desert and use a 2-part clip to get into the desert proper. You might need to touch the stairs because the collision's a little bit weird due to the layering. Grab the Warp Plate and then go turn in the Leafsifer quest to get the Daisy armor. Clip onto the ledge left of the Warp Plate to get into Portemonnaie early. Once you talk to the 3 NPCs in Portemonnaie, you can go up to the Black Ferrets and talk to them to get the quest to beat Soul Gem. At this point, you might be wondering, why are we going to the desert so early if we don't have any abilities nor the gear we need to beat the game? There exists a bug in the game where when you're running away from the boulder before Soul Gem, if you die and respawn quick enough, you maintain the increased speed that you get from running away from the boulder. As long as you don't save and quit, you maintain this speed between loading zones everywhere in the map and even after you die. With this speed boost in hand and a couple equipment items from the desert, we're now good to continue the run. Do not go to the collector's exam. There is a way to skip the collector's exam, but if you enter the exam room, then you cannot do it. Instead, flip out of bounds and find the north entrance to the Collector's HQ. Talk to Quentin to pick up the quest for the Flying Fortress, as this will be needed for certain flags to trigger later. Now proceed through Pumpkin Woods and Flying Fortress up until right before Phase Man. Here you'll want to switch your weapon to the 2-handed stick and use the skill points to level yourself up before the Phase Man fight. I grabbed Silver Level Berserker for a skill, and then I grabbed Last Breath, Combo Starter, and Brutality for talents. The main talent that's important here is Last Breath, as it increases damage on low health. It might be worth revisiting which talents we grab here, but it's not going to matter all that much early on. Once you beat Phase Man, you'll want to leave to the left and then go south to clip over to the door that is normally locked on the right. You need to beat this phase course with a relatively low time to get the best weapon for 2-handed melee in the game and a pretty good headgear. It's a bit tricky, so you'll need to practice this probably quite a bit, but once you have the path down, it's not extremely bad. Now that we have a good weapon and some decent gear, we're going to want to warp to the desert and then grind out the enemies near the warp plate to get to level 20. I usually use the first couple levels to grab the basic skills I'm going to be using and then grind out the rest of the levels. There's probably some optimization to be done here, but here's the breakdown of the skills I grab. Empower to buff my strength, Barrier to protect myself, and Gold Charge Heroic Slam to do damage. It's also important to make sure that you level up Blink so that you can use it more later. For talents, I finished leveling up Brutality, then I grabbed Surgeon to increase my crit chance, Strength to increase my attack, and Second Wind to help with EP generation. Once you're done leveling up, you need to save and quit the game, and then head back to Soul Gem to pick up the speed boost again. The reason to do this here is a bit complicated, but it plays a key role in skipping the collector's exam. Currently, Evergrande City is stuck in a state before you complete this exam. In this state, the loading zone to Evergrande Fields West doesn't exist. We need that loading zone to beat the game, so we need some way to change Evergrande City's state. There exists a mechanic in this game that allows you to skip quests when you have already completed in a world that somebody else was hosting. Essentially, how I think this works is that saving and quitting at any point after completing a certain quest bakes this quest completion into your character's save file. When we save and quit after completing Pumpkin Woods, this then gets picked up when you enter the collector's exam later. The game asks if you want to skip the quest, thinking you've already done it, which allows Evergrande City's state to progress, which then allows the game to be beaten. Unfortunately, saving and quitting this early on means we lose the speed boost. However, this is the most convenient time to do so because we are right next to where we can pick it up again. You'll then want to go back to Flying Fortress and finish the dungeon. This is mostly done the intentional way with one minor clip to get to the first key quickly. Once Gundam has been defeated, teleport back to Evergrande City and then go to where the collector's exam starts. At this point, you should be prompted with a choice that says you've already beaten this quest, do you want to skip to the end of it? You'll want to select yes, and this will skip the entrance exam. From here, you'll want to chase around Marino until he leaves to the south. While you're here, you can pick up the strength potion after Marino leaves the screen. Be careful not to enter the potion shop before the quest updates because for some reason it might soft lock you and you'll have to save and quit the game in order to get out of that potion shop, which then means that you're going to need to pick up the speed boost again, which then means that you're losing a lot of time. Beat Marino and head back to Collector's HQ to turn in the quest and pick up Naniva. From there, you'll want to go to Evergrande Fields West all the way over to Season and then clip out of bounds to get into Santa Fe early. Enter the Temple of Seasons and beat Summer and Autumn to pick up Season Change, and now we have officially gotten everything we need to beat the game. Warp to the desert and now go beat Soul Gem. Fortunately, this is where we say goodbye to the speed boost. From here on out, you're going to need to use Blink to move around faster. Return to the bar and turn in the gemstone to the Black Ferrets, and then warp to the Desert Warp Plate. Clip onto the cliff left of the Warp Plate to get into Portemonnaie again, and head to the shop above to buy yourself a better shield. Once you've entered the ghost ship, you'll want to go over around and then pick up the Twi-Shift ability. Here, for some reason, you'll need to unequip the Bloodthirst boots to clip around to get the key that you need to open up the door. We're not sure why, but you do need to unequip the Bloodthirst boots. Once you've passed the room full of combat, you'll then want to clip past the puzzle to get into the fridge fight. Fridge fight is consistent yet a little bit frustrating. I usually go left flame, upper flame, left flame if I can keep the pattern going, but if you get off pattern, you just kind of wing it. From here, you'll progress the ghost ship normally until you get to the ghost bar. Then you'll go down to get the bouncer, save and quit, as when you join back into the game, it will bring you back to the ghost bar and save you some movement. Keep progressing through the ghost ship normally until you get to the phase shift puzzle before the Evil Eye boss fight. Here, you'll want to get the optional skull ring to increase your damage more. I usually take this time to level myself up, as it's all boss fights from here to the end of the game. There's always room for improvement for skill point routing, but here's what I do. Top off barrier, then finish leveling up Surgeon for crit chance. Level up Fine Taste, buff your potion, grab Quick Reflexes to help with perfect cards, and then use the remaining talent points for Fencer. Then proceed to fighting Evil Eye. This fight can be particularly frustrating if you don't get enough damage in during the first attack. I usually use Heroic Slam sideways to next to the eye, and hope that there's no lasers at the top of the room. If you do enough damage, the eye will pop out and be invulnerable for a brief moment. If you time a Heroic Slam right before the eye shoots itself around with all your buffs up, you should be able to kill Evil Eye with that one slam. If you miss it, good luck. It might be good to practice other attacks in the fight to prepare yourself for failure, but if the fight goes well, you should never need to see anything else. Once Evil Eye is done, go and grab the last ghost, and then save and quit again. You should pop back up in the ghost bar room, and then be able to finish that quest and move on with the rest of the dungeon. Once you're done with the dream sequence, prepare yourself for the hardest fight in the entire game, in my opinion at least. Luke is particularly hard because of his rapid and wide range of attacks. You'll want to practice this fight and get good at reacting and avoiding any sort of damage at phase 1. In particular, I found getting good at perfect guarding his Smash Ball attacks essential to survival. Other than that, I usually try to tank the first flurry of hits while we have health, because we'll be at 1 health regardless later. Additionally, I try to end the first phase on the left side of the map if I can. Then take off Berserker style and put up a barrier for phase 2. The second phase of the fight starts with Luke being invulnerable, so there's no point in really attacking. From there, it's a consistent but long string of attacks with Smash Ball RNG. If you hug the top part of the broken pillar until he charges you, then trace the edge of that pillar so that Luke spins to the bottom part of that pillar. Wait at the top of the pillar, and then guard the first Smash Ball attack. Luke will charge you up there, and then do another Smash Ball attack. Get as far left as you can to guard the Smash Balls if you need to. Fire Smash Ball attack will then dictate where you are safe. You need to avoid the fire at all costs. Luke will charge you and then spin at you after that charge. He'll smash left and right, and then do a wave attack, and then there will be a shockwave attack, and then his last spin attack. Luke is now vulnerable, and you have to kill him here. Luckily, it's only one unbuffed heroic slam to do so. Once you beat Luke, you'll have to return to Evergrind City to pick up the last quest and go to the last dungeon. The last dungeon is a pretty straightforward gauntlet of boss fights with a couple puzzles in it. The only thing of note for any percent is that the north puzzle after you've completed the first tower section requires you to clip into the area with the summer orb to hit it and then complete the puzzle. You cannot go through the time rift because you never went to Time Ming, and so you can't complete the puzzle normally. After you've completed the tower, you then go beat your dad and beat the game. That's it. Overall, this run can be pretty difficult, especially because you're playing through most of it on 1 HP with just a barrier between you and an untimely demise. I'd recommend practicing boss fights, especially Luke, and getting good at ghost ship combat rooms to get a decent time. That should be it for any percent, but feel free to comment with any questions you might have, and I'll try my best to help you. There's also a speedrunning channel in the official Grindea Discord, so feel free to ping me there as well.